This video goes over our next to the last major set that we have, numbers 29 through 32. There are 36 in the collection, so this will be our next to the last one in our first set. Our second set of DLPs has 30 different screens for it, but this will be the next to the last one in our very first set. So by this time, you should be getting your DLP collection together and getting ready to submit it for grade. Okay? So let's take a look. 29 through 32. Curious enough, that should be an adverb, curiously enough. Paradise has been viewed as a beautiful garden by poets and storytellers in different ages and cultures. So to make it active, we say who did what. Curiously enough, comma, poets and storytellers in different ages and cultures have viewed paradise as a beautiful garden. The word paradise itself comes from an old Persian word meaning a walled pleasure park. Capitalized Persian as a proper adjective. Now look at the word paradise. This is very strange in essay writing, and it's not very consistent. But if we have a word that we use as a word, like this one, we italicize it. If we type, we underline it if we handwrite it. If it's called an expression or a term, we put it in quotes. Now, in printed work, they're going to put that in quotes every time. But in essay writing, we would underline or italicize this one. Okay? John Milton based his epic poem Paradise Lost on the biblical story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. We underline Paradise Lost as an epic poem that is a book-length work. Milton described Eden like it was a formal garden of a wealthy 17th century landowner. Well, 17th right here is correct in MLA format. Most other grammar books would say to write it out. Like, if we remember, starts a prepositional phrase, and a phrase will not have a verb, and he was is a verb. So I have to say as if. And then we have what we call in English the subjunctive mood. The British call it the conditional clause. And in that one, we have a statement contrary to fact, but we're thinking of it as an alternate reality or a dream or a wish. Eden was not a 17th century garden. So he describes it as if it were a 17th century garden, right? And so we use the word were as past tense subjunctive to show that difference in mood there. Set number 30. In Greek myths, the Garden of the Hesperides, where Atlas's daughters lived, was paradise. So where Atlas's daughters lived modifies Hesperides. You need commas around that interrupter. Central to this here garden, that's substandard usage, central to this garden, was a tree with golden branches and fruit. Branches, B-R-A-N-C-H-E-S. When India becomes paradise, comma, according to some Buddhists, comma, it will effortlessly yield an abundance of fruits and flowers. The long-lost garden paradise of some African tribes, well, paradise is our subject. What does paradise do? Paradise includes, I-N-C-L-U-D-E-S, the following. And after we have that expression, the following, we have a colon. Ample food, leisure time, and harmony with animals. Number 31. The dictionary defines pilgrim, again, underline pilgrim if you handwrite it, italicize it if you're typing, as the following, colon. And then, if this is quoted right from a dictionary, you can use quotation marks. If you paraphrase it, you don't, and there's no way to know which is meant right here. One who journeys through a foreign land or one who travels to a holy place. Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales, one book, describes a group of travelers making a pilgrimage. The proper noun pilgrims, they do it correctly there. What does the noun pilgrims do? Refers, R-E-F-E-R-S, to the English colonists who settled at Plymouth, Massachusetts in 1620. We're used to putting a comma here between the city and the state, but if you have more words following, you also are supposed to put a comma after the state. Until about 1820, however, these colonists were known whenever, however, is an interrupter inside a sentence and does not join two independent clauses together, there's a comma before it and a comma after it. These colonists were known by the terms founders or forefathers, not by the term pilgrims. You see, these are called terms here, so we use quotation marks. They just forgot to put the one with forefathers. So open quote, forefathers, comma, close quote. Number 32. The Pilgrim's Progress was a novel published in 1678. It was by John Bunyan. It popularized the concept of the voyaging pilgrim. Well, let's see what we can subordinate here. John Bunyan's 1678 novel, The Pilgrim's Progress, popularized the concept of the voyaging pilgrim. So that simplifies. You may come up with one even better. Sentence fragment in the next one. The protagonist Christian, who encounters many adventures on his journey from the city of destruction to the celestial city, symbols of earth and heaven, did what? They forgot the rest of the sentence because their modifying clause in the middle was so long. That's enough information there. So let's transform it into a good sentence. And you can do it very, very simply by omitting comma, who. The protagonist Christian encounters many adventures and so forth, and you end up with a good sentence. Like the Pilgrims who founded Plymouth, John Bunyan was of the religious group called the Separatist, capitalized Separatist. Thomas Blythe, to Bunyan, purifying the Church of England seemed futile. Therefore, he set up his own congregation. This is a very, very common Thomas Blythe. We put a comma to join two independent clauses together when we have the short conjunctions, the 2 and 3 letter conjunctions. They're called coordinating conjunctions, and or yet, but for, nor so. Bigger conjunctions, however, therefore, nevertheless, consequently, on the other hand, conjunctive adverbs, you need a semicolon before those. So semicolon before therefore, when they join two sentences together. Okay? All right, so one more set to go for our first collection of DLPs for the first grading period.